If you want to live like you matter, ditch the pills, look great, and feel freaking amazing, you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Wendy Trudeau.
And I'm Dr. Ed Levitan. Welcome to the Feel Freaking Amazing podcast,
where we empower you to live a vibrant and healthy life by optimizing your structural, chemical, emotional, social, and spiritual lives.
Hold on to your hats.
Do you feel like neurodegenerative diseases are on the rise? And if so, why?
Well, they definitely are. So on a lot of different fronts. So I'll give you for instance. So for dementia Alzheimer's in the Blue Cross Blue Shield actuarial data in 2017, so this is even many years ago, the average age of onset of mild cognitive impairment, which is the first step into dementia Alzheimer's, the average age was not 65. It wasn't 50. It was 47 years old.
No.
The average age. Yes.
This is only 5 years ago, Greg.
This is only 5 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And so, you know, the predictions or projections for Alzheimer's by 2030, they're basically saying 50% of adults over the age of 65 will have some form of dementia / Alzheimer's. I mean, there's some differentiation in there, but I will tell you, as I have really specialized in brain regeneration over the last 4.5 years, I am seeing patients that basically collect a bunch of diagnoses. You know, it's almost as if neurologists, you know, they can diagnose like anybody's business, but they have no solutions. And I feel bad for them because it's heartbreaking when you see this, like, and they're writing patients off like, oh, you have dementia, Alzheimer's. Well, no,
good knowing ya.
See you later. You know, here's a medication that may extend your memory for 3 to 4 months, but, you know, basically, you know, get your affairs in order. We know that not to be the truth, but that's the system that we're dealing with because it's hard to get the information out there as far as there is a lot of things that we can be doing for folks. So that's Alzheimer's, dementia. Parkinson's rates are also on the rise. Multiple sclerosis is on the rise, all of the neurodegenerative states. So they're magnets in that multiple fronts. So one is on the topic of this summit, which is around toxicants and the amount of toxins we are exposed to on a day-to-day, annual, week-to-week, month-to-month, annual basis is really unheard of. And it's a great experiment. And, you know, one of the basic tenets of naturopathic medicine is treat the cause. Well, when it's your environment, that's an issue. So, you know, we're all basically loving Mother Earth and seeing the connection between clean air, clean water, clean food, right? I mean, these should be basic rights and tenets for inhabitants of planet Earth. And we don't treat it that way. Like our biosphere is our home and it affects us. You know, what happens in the macrocosm, the environment, happens in the microcosm in our bodies. That's an ancient Chinese saying of wisdom. And to really experience that microcosm, macrocosm is the truth. And so looking at that, that's one level. So levels of toxicants are on the rise and our exposures, you know, levels of nutrients in our soil to feed our bodies nutritionally is also playing a role there.
It's actually not on the rise. It's on the decline.
Yeah, the mineral content is going down, which is it's expediting all of these other issues. Thank you for that clarification. And the hidden component here, though, that I think a lot of folks aren't addressing, we're hearing more and more about trauma, general trauma, adverse childhood experiences, the ACE scores. You know, I have a kind of a quaint saying is nobody gets out of here alive. You know, we're born, we live, and we die, but it's that component of the living component. When you look at levels of trauma, I have a working hypothesis clinically where I'm seeing as our species has been on the planet longer, we have more of an ancestral lineage. So there are epigenetic changes that maybe our great-great-great-great-great-grandmother had some stressors in her life that threw epigenetic switches, and now the illness is expressing today.
Greg, I want to pause you right there.
Yeah.
Talk to the audience about epigenetics, because some of them listening might not know what you're talking about. So they're like, wait, what?
Yeah. So there's our genes, right? And our genes. And when we get into this discussion, I'm going to put a huge asterisk here, because it's kind of cutting edge therapeutics and understanding, and it's very complex. So I'm going with the kind of the day-to-day. This is the best knowledge today. So we have our genes, and our genes are not our destiny. Just because you have a gene doesn't mean you're going to express it. And so we know the epigenetics is what overlays our genes. So that's the soup that we swim in. And we have Bruce Lipton to thank for a whole really breakthrough of this understanding. He was growing stem cells in a petri dish, and he saw and actually visualized the medium that the cells were growing in mattered. So that is the epigenetics. So the medium that your body is functioning in matters. Are you running around in chronic stress, which throws inflammation off? Are you eating Twinkies and donuts and hot dogs? That's the fuel for what your body uses to create itself anew in the future. Every 7 years, all of your cells of your body are new. So you have an opportunity all the time for renewal. So that's what I'm talking about, the epigenetics. It's what surrounds the gene, which then allows expression of the gene.
So have you heard the study about in Sweden, some epidemiologists went to Sweden, to this small little town that had meticulous records on their inhabitants, and they looked back a couple hundred years and found that if your grandfather went through a famine or a feast during puberty, it altered your lifespan and your health span, actually. So if your grandparent went through a feast during puberty, 2 generations down, was significantly more likely to have diabetes, heart disease, and die on average 6 years earlier than the general population. But the reverse, if your grandparent went through a famine during the puberty time, their offspring 2 generations down were significantly more likely, to the tune of 25 years, less likely to get chronic disease and live on average 25 years longer. Like, that's a huge spread.
Yeah. And
that's epigenetics.
Yeah. And that also happened in Quebec. There was a great freeze, and they've followed that for 2 to 3 generations now, and same findings. So that's the component. It's made our jobs a lot more complicated, because a lot of us don't know our family lineage or the tree. And in reality, it matters to a point, because you can't go back. There's nothing you can do about it, but you can make different choices and decisions today, knowing maybe you have the deck stacked against you.
Right. I mean, as Joe Pizzorno talks about, your genes account for 15% of what's happening, whereas the other 85% is in your control.
Yeah.
Right. What's in your environment, your eating, your sleeping, your pooping, your thoughts, your intimacy with others, your movement, your stress reduction, all of that is in your control.
Were you inspired and empowered today?
Don't forget to follow so we can help you keep transforming your health.
Until next time.